Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles. She's actually out and about today, so you're gonna have to put up with me for your daily dose of dismal Disney. It's really interesting to see the headlines lately regarding Marvel and Star Wars and Pixar, because a year or two ago, the media was telling us that it was just the right-wing chuds that wanted to see Disney fail, that Disney was fine. Everything was fine here. We're all fine here. It's all good. You're just being a bunch of bigot Nazi homophobes. It's a you problem. Well, it's not an us problem. Now the mainstream media is coming out and saying, yeah, Disney is damaged goods. Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, they're all very, very damaged brands. We've got The Wrap. We're going to talk about this. This is a pretty damning article that they put up earlier today. And we've got Polygon saying that Marvel's in trouble because Fantastic Four did not do that well. And this is the movie that leads into Doomsday. These kinds of articles would have been unthinkable a year or two ago. In fact, if you mentioned this, certain corners of the internet would dogpile you on social media. And I have to wonder if it's because they don't have the control over Twitter that they used to have. But the narrative was, the marching orders were, that this is all a fabrication of right-wing fans, and I'm using air quotes here because they're like, well, it's basically just, all the alt-right Nazis want to just pick on the Marvel and the Star Wars. Yeah, it's like, you can't ignore this. Numbers don't care. Numbers don't lie. The numbers are not good. And people are tuning out. And it's so weird to read these headlines too, kind of the cope. I don't know if it's cope or just acceptance. Maybe it's the stages of grief. But they're like, well, a movie now, a superhero movie needs to settle for, $500 to $800 million. The days of doing $1 billion, that just doesn't happen anymore. Except for Minecraft, except for Mario, except for Barbie, except for all these other movies. They're not superhero movies, not Marvel movies, not even Disney movies. So yeah, it still happens. It's just not happening for them, right? Now, The Wrap is blaming Disney Plus, and I think that's part of it. I think that they definitely diluted their product. Marvel was no longer an event. It was no longer something that you had to go see the new Marvel movie every weekend because we got Marvel at home. And that's kind of what happened. Kind of reminds me of TGI Fridays. Are they still in business? I don't know if they're still in business or not, but like once they started selling their potato skins and their wings in Walmart, why the hell would you even go to TGI Fridays? Because it's like, this is what people like the most. So why would you go? It's kind of like that. And it's so expensive to go to the movies now. And it's got to really be something that's worth seeing. But people will go. That's the thing. They can't make the excuse that people aren't going to the movies. People absolutely are going to the movies. They're just not going to Disney's movies, at least not these Disney movies. They did go to Inside Out 2. That was a huge hit. They did go to Lilo and Stitch. That was a huge hit. So it's but they didn't go Snow White. So really the only hit I think Disney's had this year I can think of is probably Lilo and Stitch. And that tapped into, well, one, the movie was actually pretty good, all things considered, but also tapped into something that, that millennial nostalgia, I think Gen Z nostalgia for Lilo and Stitch. And I think people were pleasantly surprised it didn't suck. There are some things I really didn't like about the movie, but it was okay. As far as Disney live action movies go, it was okay. But we're going to look at these articles. Pretty interesting stuff. Again, everybody knew this, but the mainstream media is late to the party as usual. They would have been defending Star Wars. They did for years. All these outlets, they all defended Star Wars. It's just the alt-right chud. Star Wars is fine. Everything is good. No, not really. The numbers don't lie. Numbers say fuck your feelings. It's art. How dare you criticize high art? I'm like, look, this shit's not greenlit to be high art. Sometimes you get a little kernel of art in there, but this shit is greenlit by Disney to feed the machine. And that's the truth. And you can enjoy the hell out of it. I actually like Fantastic Four. We did a review. I actually liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I'm biased in the fact that I'm a Fantastic Four nerd. Like, I love the Fantastic Four growing up. And I had to kind of, turn a blind eye to Pedro Pascal being whatever. But overall, I liked the movie. I liked it quite a bit. And I wish that they would take more chances like they did with that one. But that being said, I understand the reason they greenlit the Fantastic Four wasn't to make an art house film. The reason they greenlit it is they need another superhero tentpole franchise to sell merchandise and to reskin their theme parks, and it's part of the machine, right? And I think the sooner you get that through your noggin, the happier you will be, because you can look at stuff more objectively and not get your feelings intermingled. Because again, numbers say fuck your feelings. Anyway, let's talk about this. We're into it pretty far. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Go out to news.clownfishtv.com for more podcasts. We got a bunch of podcasts recorded. I just have to get to them. We've been having a lot of issues over here lately, the last couple of weeks. It's been a mess, but I will not bore you with the details. Let's talk about these details. This comes from The Wrap. The Disney Plus curse. How the streaming service hurt Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar. Marvel and Star Wars shows have seen declining streams, while MCU and Pixar movies are feeling the box office hurt. Again, with the exception of Inside Out 2, but that was a sequel to a very well-received movie. But Elio did terrible. And they're first right out of the gate, Fantastic Four, first steps. They said, yeah, this is a problem. They said that it was supposed to prime the pump for Marvel's next big bet, Fantastic Four, first steps. And it's just not looking too good. Feige wound up talking about something that superheroes avoid at all costs, failure. This is this was a get-together at Marvel Studios, the Frank G. Wells building. The producer explained that after Endgame, which capped off a period of the movies known as the Infinity Saga and wound up being one of the most successful movies of all time, it was about experimentation, but the demands of Disney Plus, Disney's direct-to-consumer streaming platform, was also about expansion. Feige specifically pointed to the Marvels, sequel to 2019's $1 billion grossing Captain Marvel, which brought in $206 million globally as the movie that was hit hardest by the new emphasis on Disney Plus and the inclusion of characters from Marvel shows. Yeah, basically, the Marvels was just a very special episode of Ms. Marvel. It was like all the leftover characters from Disney Plus. Same with Thunderbolts. Now, my wife and son, I haven't seen Thunderbolts yet. They went to go see it. They said it was actually pretty okay. It was a pretty okay movie. It wasn't great, but to be fair, some of the phase 1, phase 2 movies weren't great either, but people wanted to go see them because they knew it was building to something, right? But yeah, you have to do a lot of homework to watch that movie because all these characters are leftovers from other Disney Plus shows. People are like, okay, I recognize her from a $1 billion movie. Who are the other two? I guess they were in some TV show. I'll skip it. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Feige got more blunt later on. The expansion is what devalued the Marvel brand. So this is Feige saying that. It was too much. It was a big company push, and it doesn't take too much to push us to go. There was a mandate that we were put in the middle of. Yeah, they probably get out there and milk these characters for as much as you can milk them for, because Disney looks at their acquisitions kind of like they do as their homegrown product, which is there's always going to be a Disney princess something to sell Disney princess merch. And that's what they're probably looking at with Marvel and Star Wars. There has to be a Marvel something. There has to be a Star Wars something because we got to sell merch. We got to get people in the theme parks. But it can actually have the opposite effect. I would argue, and I think I could argue this pretty successfully, that Disney would have been better off not making any new Star Wars and just being the rights holder for the original trilogy, because it was evergreen. And if they had themed Galaxy's Edge as the original trilogy, or maybe throw some prequel stuff in there or whatever, and just not messed with it, they would still be selling merchandise, lots and lots of merchandise, because now they've watered it down and people don't care. They said nearly every one of Disney's core brands, in addition to Marvel, Pixar, and Lucasfilm, have been diminished by the company's direct-to-consumer streaming platform and that platform's insatiable thirst for fresh content and also shitty content. Shitty, bang, bang. It shit the bed. Yeah, a lot of it was just terrible. It was rushed. I tried watching Boba Fett. I tried watching Obi-Wan. I didn't care. I could not care. And what's going to happen with Mandalorian? Riddle me this, Batman. What's going to happen with The Mandalorian when the Mandalorian movie is basically season 4 of the show that nobody gives a shit about anymore for various reasons? Are people going to go see it? They got Star Wars at home. They've got nonstop Star Wars. As soon as one Star Wars show ended, they started another one. Are they going to go see this movie? Because people are probably going to think to themselves, geez, I got to go catch up on all this shitty Disney Plus Star Wars shit. I don't want to invest that kind of time, then go buy a ticket. I mean, the diehards are going to go. Or will they? I mean, to be honest, Solo was a huge failure. So who the hell knows? Maybe they won't. That was before Disney Plus. So over the last 5 years, Marvel and Disney Plus Star Wars shows, with some exceptions, have seen declining streaming minutes as each subsequent series debuts, with Star Wars peaking with the second season of The Mandalorian in 2021 through Skeleton Crew in 2024, which failed to even make the weekly top 10 for Nielsen. But this is fine, guys. It's art. It's just the bigots. Just the bigots are mad. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if stuff's good. I actually heard, I haven't watched Andor. I still haven't watched Andor, but people said at least season 1 was pretty good. And my wife watched Skeleton Crew. She said it was okay. It was all right. I think it would have gotten more of a pass had the other shittier stuff not come first. So, yeah, it's just what I'm saying is like, it's people just don't care. I forget what's even coming out. Like I'm sitting here, I'm like super pumped for another season of Severance, and it's like a year away, but I could not tell you what the new Disney Plus thing is. And like they tried doing the High Republic, that's over. They already pulled the plug on the High Republic, and that's what the Acolyte was part of. This is a huge failure. There are ripple effects at the box office with Captain America: Brave New World, which brought 414 million globally, and Thunderbolts did 382. Both disappointments compared to previous franchises and when factoring in their respective budgets. This is coming from The Wrap. This is one of the most respected Hollywood publications saying they didn't make enough money. Fuck your feelings. They didn't make enough money. That is the truth. That is the way it is. And you can love those movies, right? You can love them. My wife and son, they love Thunderbolts. They thought it was good. I love Fantastic Four. That being said, it's going to be a disappointment. It is what it is, right? Fuck my feelings. Fantastic Four dropped 66% from its 118 million opening weekend, dashing the hopes this film would get Marvel back on track. On the Pixar front, Elio has been a catastrophe, bringing in only 138 million so far at the global box office, making it the worst performing Pixar film in history. Ranking below even Onward. Yeah, and Onward opened like a week before the lockdown. So they had an excuse. It's impossible to compare what those box office results might have been in the absence of Disney Plus. I don't think Elio had anything to do with Disney Plus. I think Elio was just, it was a new thing. Nobody cared. And it was more, bean mouth style, which a lot of people don't think of when they think Pixar. It looks like a Cartoon Network show. And it wasn't really promoted that well either, to be honest. And plus families are, look, they're gun shy, especially with Pixar now. They're like, I mean, they had to walk back some of the activist talking points. I'll be nice about it. The activist talking points in Inside Out 2 to make the movie more palatable for general audiences. And apparently, if the director had it his way with Elio, it would have been Elio in drag and Elio's fashion show, and Elio's like super duper out there. And it's like Queer Eye for the space guy. I don't know. But they had to rein that in too, and then the movie just wound up being meh, But my wife liked that one. She went to go see that with my daughter, and so it was okay. It was pretty good, but it just it just didn't resonate with people. People are very choosy about what they watch, and I don't think it's just Disney Plus. Given the quality of the Marvel Disney Plus output, and it's been incredibly mediocre. It's dragged the entire brand down and diluted its creative, said a producer with franchise experience. People don't care now. People don't, I'm going to zoom in on that. People don't care now about Marvel. They don't care now about Disney. And we're seeing it even in our reviews on this kind of stuff. Like, part of the reason that we've pivoted to talking about other stuff is that nobody cares about Disney. Nobody cares about Marvel. Nobody cares about Star Wars or Pixar other than to point and laugh at them. Because they've done it to themselves. They've devalued their own brand. Nobody cares about comic books, even if comic books are getting better. Nobody gives a shit. They don't want to watch a video about it. Okay, so this comic sucks less than it did 5 years ago. Whatever, I've moved on. And that's just it. People move on. They move on to other things. And they moved on from Disney. That these once beloved properties are landing with a meh for audiences now suggests there is a potential long-term cost to the strategy of driving a fire hose of content to retain Disney Plus subscribers. It's not just that. People would be okay if every show was good. The shows are shit. It's not just too much. It's the shows were garbage for the most part. But the damage was done even before Disney Plus. To Star Wars, The Last Jedi destroyed Star Wars. It absolutely destroyed. And we can argue whether or not the movie was good and it had artistic merit and vision and blah, blah, blah. Rian Johnson's a genius. Whatever. With the general public, The Last Jedi fucked the franchise beyond hope. And they had a glimmer of that. They had one chance to save it with The Mandalorian, and then they fucked that up too. So it's them. I mean, it was amazing. People actually came back for The Mandalorian. I didn't right away. I waited until it was out for a couple of weeks, and then I finally dipped back in. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll try it, whatever. And I was like, oh, this actually feels kind of like Star Wars. Well, oh my God, look at that. And then they fucked it up with the Gina Carano situation, and then using episodes as like, backdoor pilots. And then season 3 was just a disaster. Again, I don't know how many people are going to come to the Mandalorian movie. If that's what they're betting on to course correct Star Wars, I don't think it's going to go the way they think it's going to go. That was the best part of The Last Jedi. That line, there were some good scenes in that movie. Just the movie itself was shit. But there were some good scenes and good cinematography. It was a good looking movie. It really was. As Disney Plus's shows have landed with subsequently less and less buzz, subscribers are starting to see the service as less of a must-have. In the first quarter, Disney Plus lost 700,000 subscribers. The first time it saw a decline, although it was partly attributed to price hikes. Yeah, that'll do it too. I mean, people can't afford luxury items. And look, you go buy a $200 TV from Walmart and it's got Roku built in and you can watch whatever the hell you want. Even if it's a couple of years old, it's probably new to you. There's so much stuff out there. No human being can watch every show ever made, play every video game ever made, read every comic book ever made. It's going to be new to you at some point. Hell, I don't get a lot of time to just sit down and play video games like I used to. So to me, I've got like, oh, here's this, JRPG I got for Christmas 5 years ago. It's still shrink wrapped. I'm going to play it now. I need to play a Neo Fantasian. I think it's still shrink wrapped from Christmas. I haven't had time to play it. Disney's brand's taking a hit. According to Brand Finance, which tracks the brand value of top global companies, the value of the Disney name fell 5.6% to $46.72 billion from a year earlier. A Disney spokesperson declined to comment. Of course they did. Said Iger's legacy was the launching of Disney Plus and the marketing. The decision to disrupt businesses that are fundamentally working but whose future is in question, intentionally taking on short-term losses in the hopes of generating long-term growth, requires no small amount of courage, he said in The Ride of a Lifetime. He should have noped out. He should have just stayed down. He shouldn't have come back because his legacy is tarnished now, because on his watch, now they can blame Chapek all they want. He was still calling the shots when Chapek was supposedly in charge. So this is all Iger. All of it. He made some smart acquisitions and then he fumbled them once he bought them. Star Wars was a smart acquisition. Marvel was a smart acquisition, but you have to realize that they're their own thing and not Disney shit. You can't Disney princess these properties. They said the service started strong. It took off during lockdown when COVID turned the entire industry upside down. Yeah, COVID, everybody's making mad money online. Everybody was, because everybody's locked in their houses. Disney was a lifeline for the entire company. He told you this. Disney Plus was a lifeline for the entire company, which had its theme parks closed and cruise ships grounded. A year after launch, Disney announced it had over 94.9 billion subscribers. It beat its 4-year goal in 14 months. As an economic engine, Disney Plus did what it was supposed to do. But creatively, it would sap the company's brands of their singular oomph. Wow. So we're just talking about different. Damn, it just goes on and on. They said, I think this is hilarious. I think it's hilarious to just look at this and be like, you've destroyed your brand. You've destroyed your company. Next year, we're going to get a new Star Wars movie instead of an original story or continuation of the saga. It'll be an expansion of The Mandalorian. I don't think it's going to go well. I think Starfighter might do okay, Besides the second season of Ahsoka, there are currently no new live-action Star Wars series that have been announced. After years of being bombarded with Star Wars series on Disney Plus to diminishing returns, franchises return to the big screen. Will it be special again? No, I don't think so. Then they're talking the MCU is the same thing. Wow, it's just I'm not going to go into the whole thing here, but you can see the decline in the shows. Ironheart had more than She-Hulk, really? Wow, that's kind of nuts to look at. They said there have been a handful of hit Marvel Studios on Disney Plus. WandaVision was, because it was the first one. And actually, I think it was done fairly well. And they actually did use that to turn Scarlet Witch into her comic book counterpart. But yeah, it was, They said Agatha all along racked up 744 minutes, plus Loki. Ironheart supposedly garnered just 560. God, they're admitting that Ironheart was a failure too. The chilling effect these shows have extended to the films, with Captain America Brave New World and Thunderbolts both underperforming. Deadpool and Wolverine and the Fantastic Four have performed well because they're so detached from the rest of the MCU. But even Fantastic Four is showing cracks with this drastic drop-off at the box office in its second weekend. Are we allowed to say that? Are we allowed to say that now? Because everybody's saying it. Everybody's saying it now. Even Polygon. Fantastic Four's big box office drop reveals a critical Marvel problem. Recent Marvel movies are setting up Avengers Doomsday, but interest seems low. They're talking about Pixar. God, they're really just eviscerating Disney at this point. Lightyear was a huge failure. Elio was a huge failure. Failure. The Survivors. Not every Disney brand. Okay, finally get some good news. Not every Disney brand has taken a huge hit. The service used to have a robust lineup of original movies: Lady and the Tramp, Hocus Pocus 2, which sucked, Home Sweet Home Alone, which sucked. None of these films encroached on any of its brands. If there had been a new live-action adaptation of a beloved Disney animated movie appearing on Disney Plus, it might have bitten into that business, but they knew from the beginning that less was more. They should do it. They should handle it like they handled Disney Plus or the Disney Channel. Right? And do original programming just for Disney Plus that doesn't cross the streams with the theatrical stuff or whatever. They decided to move some projects to theatrical. Moana series became Moana 2. Encanto. I think Lilo and Stitch was actually a Disney Plus thing. Wow. What's next? Walt Disney Studios used to think of projects as brand deposits or brand withdrawals. Okay, guys, I want to just, again, they're not making art. I mean, the people working on the projects are doing the best job they can do, right? All of these projects are about business. I want to be very, very clear. That is the difference between the Disney company now and the Disney company of even 20 years ago, 25 years ago. It's all a business transaction. This is how they look at it. This is literally how Disney looks at its shit. Walt Disney Studios used to think of projects as brand deposits or brand withdrawals. Fuck your feelings. It's not art. It's product. Some of it's good. Sometimes you have artists working on these projects and they make them good because they put a bit of themselves into it. But a lot of this shit, it's just IP stuff. This is crazy though. They said the brand withdrawal of Disney Plus is huge. The company seems to be taking the right steps to course correct, chiefly not to put out as much product on the streaming service and re-emphasize the importance of theatrical. There are far fewer new things on the service. Yeah, but people are going to quit because there are far fewer new things. Unlike, you want to talk about fire hose, Netflix is a fire hose. I think the reason it took so long for K-pop Demon Hunters to take off is people had to find it because there's so much stuff on Netflix. It said, just as Encanto found life on Disney Plus, the company, if it's smart, will emphasize the platform as a library of all things Disney. This is how the product was sold in 2019. In a way, this might be the easiest way of rehabilitating the company's brands by reminding people of how good things used to be. That is why. Go out to the Wrap and read the whole thing. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but that is why people haven't completely given up on Disney. They haven't completely given up on Disney because they know Disney's capable of doing better. They have done better. I just don't know if Disney is capable of doing better. And this is coming from a guy who used to work with the company, right? I don't know if they're capable of doing better on the watch of the people who are in charge. I'm just saying. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later. For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.